EDOGIS. He's a certified chartered accountant,
architect,
facility management professional, and an alumnus of the University of Jos. He's going to be speaking to us on Obaseki's land reforms and its attendant effect on the ease of doing business and real estate development in Edo State. My name is Habiba Oyege Oyarekwa. I'm going to transmitting live from PDP Digital Media Team Studio. Now, Architect Frank, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you and good morning.
The EDOGIS commenced full operations some years back now and has been issuing electronic certificate of occupancies to Edo residents. Now, what has been the feedback from the people that have received their certificates?
Tremendous positive feedback. EDOGIS started precisely 1st of September 2018, and between then and now, we've issued well over 6,000 certificates, and the numbers are mounting on a daily basis. So the feedback has been tremendous. We even have a lot of our people who live outside the country now coming in to do their certification, because we made it possible for them to be able to do their certification without being physically present. So the feedback has been tremendously positive.
So you're saying that even if you are outside the country and then you have the documents to show that you own a landed property in Benin,
yes,
they could secretly to your office and to get their CFOs?
That's right, that's right.
But what are the obligations that they have to meet?
Okay, our forms are available online at www.edogis.com. But even if somebody scans it and sends it to you and you fill it, we will accept. We also accept you to send in your documents electronically. The only part, perhaps the only part we need a physical interaction is for somebody to physically take us to the land, so that we are sure that the documents you're presenting is actually pointing to the land you want to register. Apart from that, we don't need your physical presence, and starting at a small fee of 50,000 naira, you can get your land registered and the certificate of occupancy issued.
EDOGIS is standing for Edo Geographical and Information Service. That is what it stands for.
Edo State Geographic Information Service.
Okay, yes. Good. Now, can you walk us through the process of registering a new land, and can you give us a breakdown of parts of the state where more CFOs have been issued?
We have CFOs from all over the state, actually. Of course, Benin City metropolitan area, which covers about 5 local governments, has the highest amount of activity, but that's understandable. It's our capital city, and land has the greatest value in Benin City per square meter. But we've also licensed and registered industrial lands. I can readily recall Dangote, I can recall Presco, I can recall NOSAC, SCARF. Several companies have actually come and gotten their CFOs, and leading to ease of investment for them in our state. A lot of individuals, a lot of small entrepreneurs, small businesses, hotels, petrol stations have sprung up over the last few years because of the ease with which they have obtained their land documentation. Like I said, they didn't have to come by themselves. They didn't need any physical presence, and the costs dropped from millions of naira to just a few thousands of naira.
And you want to put a figure to that few thousand?
Yes, I can give you examples. I now have retirees getting CFOs for 51,000, 52,000 naira.
Only?
In an era, in the past era, they will have needed close to 800,000. If you come to my office, I can show you files where people were billed 4 million. There was a particular real estate developer who had to pay 4.5 million for the registration. He abandoned it. But under this new regime, he came back, and I think with less than 220,000, he got his certificate because it was a large expanse of land. Okay. So it's a lot cheaper now. We're talking 400–500% cheaper than it was before. We're doing about 15 to 20% former cost profile. But I guess the clincher is the fact that it is so much seamless now. And your land is better protected because when government started, when Governor Obaseki came up with this idea, we decided to start from the ground up. So a law was enacted to help you guard your land, the Private Property Protection Law of 2016, I believe it was, makes it illegal and criminal for anybody to come and forcibly take over your land or forcibly demand money from you. So for the first time in the history of the state, and I dare say in the history of the country, there is a law that specifically addresses land grabbers and land touts and people who want to make development difficult. Then it was assisted by the fact that the Oba of Benin himself, from speculation. So it cleaned up the land arena in the state. And when that was done, the next thing was we now wanted to know our land mass. You find that government for a long time, they work in ignorance. They don't know they don't have data to work with. But the focus of the Obaseki administration has always been, you need the data to make informed decisions. Yeah. And so we acquired an area survey of the entire state. As I speak from my computer system, I can point out your house to you. Once we had that, it was now a simple case of tying the plots to their owners, in an electronic database. And that makes it impossible to have multiple certifications and multiple owners on the same plot of land. And that is a huge step forward for investors and homeowners alike.
Does this also extend to the central part of Edo State and, of course, Edo North?
The whole of Edo State.
The whole of Edo.
The whole of Edo State. We don't discriminate. We are not interested. As long as it is within the Edo State boundary, yeah, we are able to show you the auto photograph. We have an area survey of it, and we are able to pinpoint your land.
Now, what other strategies were employed in reducing the turnaround time, and what initiatives have you put in place to sustain this reform?
Right. So the first thing was government actually, Edo State Geographic Information Service is a successor agency to the now defunct Ministry of Lands and Survey. So what government actually did was to take a business outlook to land administration. And the agency was set up to be front-facing. If you come to our premises, you'll find out that we run ourselves as a commercial bank will run.
Yes.
We are customer-oriented. And so the ministry was scrapped. An agency was set up. We got some new staff, added some of the old staff. Training was done to change our orientation. We got one of the best consultants in terms of setting up GIS systems in the country and indeed anywhere else in the world. And we totally turned around the mentality of our people. First was to create the conducive environment. And it's all part of a bigger picture. If you go now, the old secretariat building has been torn up and redone. And we have buildings that were abandoned for 40 years now looking very, very, very beautiful indeed.
Remodeled.
Completely remodeled in such a way that when you go in there, you feel happy to come to work.
That's true.
So it's a philosophy that actually ran throughout the Edo State government of Governor Obaseki, that where you work, where you spend most of your life is your office. It should be a place that inspires you to produce. And we put all that philosophy into Edo GIS, and the result was that first we had willing staff. Now, people kept saying civil servants are bad civil servants. Please come to Edo GIS and see civil servants working the way somebody in the private organization is working. And that's one of the legacies that Governor Obaseki is bestowing on the state, changing the attitude of workers to government work. Then the next thing was to automate the entire process itself. We had well over 30,000 legacy files kept in sacks. In sacks they used to call Ghana must go.
Okay.
And that was the archival system that we met. but all that's changed now. We are far into the process of digitizing each and every single land file in the state. All the new files are digitized. So I'm talking about the legacy files. So even the legacy files are being digitized. I think we've gone about 70–75% done now. We created a brand new archive. We now have an automated archiving system. We have an automated file management system.
Yeah.
And so all this made it very easy, very, very easy to process documents. So CFOs that used to take 2–3 years, you now get between 6 and 8 weeks.
Now, can you just give us a breakdown of the volume of CFOs you have processed since the new regime, and what areas do you have significant business activity?
Okay, so this is what has happened over the last 50 years or so, right from the time of the Midwest region till Edo State. About 30,000 CFOs were issued.
30,000.
About 30,000 by various governments, all sorts of land titles, not just CFO, different land titles, about 30,000. Now, since the advent of the government of Godwin Obaseki, we've issued 6,000 in less than 2 years. And as more and more people come, we are sure that we will overhaul the 30,000 within the next year or so, because the steam is building. More and more, as people begin to see results, as people get calls. I mean, in EDOGIS, when your documents are ready, we actually call you. You don't have to come follow up, check. No. We actually will place a phone call to you. Your documents are ready. Where do you want the documents sent? As people didn't believe it will happen or that it will work, but as people began to experience this for themselves, more and more people are coming up, and a whole new industry has actually sprung up. The industry of registering land titles, the industry of transacting land businesses. It's venture now. And it's getting to a stage where very soon it will be impossible for you to sell your land unless your land is registered with EDOGIS. Because people know that once you've registered your land with EDOGIS, it's secured. The information will not change. The era of missing files gone forever, because we have virtual files and we have physical files. So even if the physical file gets missing, we simply reproduce it from our servers.
Okay.
So the era of your land files going missing is done. That cannot happen anymore. And these are the serious innovations that are coming into land administration that is giving investors and homeowners confidence to do business in Edo State.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
If you're just joining us, we're chatting with architect Francis Evbuomwan. He's the MD EDOGIS, that is a Geographic and Information Service of Edo State. When we come back, we're going to be talking about the challenges of the new system, if any, and also the difference between CFO and land titles. Stay with us.
Obaseki na umbrella, Obaseki na PDP, na PDP we dey. Obaseki no be Obaseki na umbrella, Obaseki na umbrella, Obaseki na PDP, Obaseki na PDP. The symbol is umbrella, PDP we dey. Obaseki no be bro, Obaseki no be bro. Oya, Obaseki shaibu. Them get plenty achievements, yo. Like them bring Edo best. Many renovation. Everybody they happy for Edo. They say Obaseki na correct governor. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na PDP. Obaseki na PDP. Na PDP we dey. Obaseki no be bro. Obaseki no be bro. PDP. Power to the people. Obaseki na umbrella, Obaseki na PDP, na PDP we dey. Obaseki no be Obaseki na umbrella, Obaseki na umbrella, Obaseki na PDP, Obaseki na PDP. The symbol is umbrella, PDP we dey. Obaseki no be bro, Obaseki no be bro. Oya, them bring EDOGIS. Many renovation. Everybody they happy for Edo. They say Obaseki na correct governor. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na PDP. Obaseki na PDP. Na PDP with Obaseki no be bro. Obaseki no be bro. PDP. Power to the people. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na PDP. Na PDP we dey. Obaseki no be Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na PDP. Obaseki na PDP. The symbol is umbrella. Na PDP we dey. Obaseki no be bro. Obaseki no be bro. Oya. Obaseki shaibu. Togba. Them get plenty achievements, yo. Like them bring EDOGIS. Many renovation. Everybody they happy for Edo. They say Obaseki na correct governor. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na PDP. Obaseki na PDP. Na PDP with Obaseki no be bro. Obaseki no be bro. PDP. Power to the people. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na PDP. Na PDP we dey. Obaseki no be bro. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na PDP. Obaseki na PDP. The symbol is umbrella. Na PDP we dey. Obaseki no be bro. Obaseki no be bro. Oya. Obaseki shaibu. Togba. Them get plenty achievements, yo. Like them bring EDOGIS. Many renovation. Everybody they happy for Edo. They say Obaseki na correct governor. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na PDP. Obaseki na PDP. Na PDP with Obaseki no be bro. Obaseki no be bro. PDP. Power to the people. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na PDP. Na PDP we dey. Obaseki no be bro. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na umbrella. Obaseki na PDP. Obaseki na PDP. The symbol is umbrella. Na PDP we dey. Obaseki no be bro. Obaseki no be bro.
You're welcome back to the program, transmitting live from a PDP Digital Media Team studio. Now, architect, what has been the complaints from residents coming in to register their properties, and how have these complaints been addressed?
Okay. Well, the truth of the matter is we've not seen much complaints beyond the fact that they're a bit unfamiliar with the processes involved with getting their property registered. Beyond that, there's not been much complaint. People have just taken to these new processes like duck to water. You must understand the background of where they're coming from. They're coming from an era where it was almost impossible to get land titles. It took years. It took loads of money. It took tons of lobbying to get land titles. And now you can just walk in, go to our customer service. Oh, by the way, we do run a customer service center where you can come in, ask for whatever you want to ask for, get whatever assistance you need to get. You don't need to know anybody. You just come in. The same way as when you go into your bank.
We have a phone number attached to the customer service?
We've got phone numbers attached to the service. I will furnish you with the phone numbers. We accept complaints from email, info@edogis.org. Our website is there, the phone numbers. And so we've not really had complaints. At the risk of sounding immodest, we've actually been having commendations and so on and so forth. And of course, suggestions on how we can even further improve. Because, okay, right now we can get you land titles in about 6 to 9 weeks, right? So our people want it to be, they want the time to come down even further. We brought it down from 2 years. It's now about 6 weeks. They want it to come further. So it's a challenge we are working on. And we're looking at our processes to see how we can bring it down to under 13 days.
6 weeks. That is
6 weeks.
1.5 months.
Yes, it actually comes to 30 working days because you don't count the Saturdays and the Sundays. So when we say 30 working days, it's actually about 6 weeks. So people should not get it confused with 30 calendar days. It's actually 30 working days. But we are hoping to bring that even further down so that, and then we're also working on the possibility of even having online registration so you can just do everything online. Right now, the process of payment is totally hands-off. You can transfer into our government account directly. We do not accept any kind of cash. Or you can pay at the POS, or you can sit in the comfort of your house and just use your phone to just push.
Transfer.
Yeah, and this has been a very welcome innovation that most of our diasporans are so happy because now they don't have to pay money through somebody. They can just pay directly by themselves and be sure of where their money is coming to. And working with the Internal Revenue Service, we're also coming up with a system of automated receipting and automated billing that will make it simple for you from your house to get whatever bill and receipts for any amount you pay. So we're working to bring down the time it takes to get the certificate. Let me even say that the greatest challenge for time we have is response. For instance, if we call our subscriber, please come and show us the land, we need to be sure that what you have described in your documents is actually on ground, and so that we can map it correctly with our area survey. It could take them a few days to a few weeks to respond. So that's actually been most of the complaints.
Okay. But that is not your fault.
No, it's not our fault, but it's dragging down our turnaround time. And anything that drags around our turnaround time becomes a problem and a challenge for us to solve. So apart from that, we're doing good. We've actually expanded our operations thanks to our digital governor, who will never really stop working. I don't know how he gets all the energy. We've opened up another block now, so we'll be able to handle even more customers demanding our services at
Within
the
the same premises?
Within the same premises, we've opened up another block. Okay. We've opened up another block. And bear in mind that the agency is still just about 2 years old.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what is the difference between C of O, that is the certificate of occupancy, and of course the land title?
Okay, that's an excellent question.
Thank you.
Your right to own land is called a statutory right of occupancy. Now, it may be documented or it may not be documented by government. Now, once you document your ownership of the land, you get government to issue you occupancy. So the certificate is a document that attests to the fact that the land belongs to you. And because you've got that certificate from government, it is expected that it will be a consistent registration of ownership. So when the ownership changes hands, you should actually come back to us. So, oh, okay, ownership have changed hands. We will issue you a new certificate of occupancy. Oh, by the way, that's another innovation. Before now, a land could only be issued one certificate, and that's it. It is never changed. So even when Alhaji A sells to Chief B, the land will continue to bear the certificate of Alhaji A's name. But under this administration, we've done away with that system. Thanks to our computerization efforts, we are now able to reissue a certificate of occupancy to the current owner. So you no longer have to carry around documents belonging to another person. All your documents on the land will always bear your own name and your own photograph and your own electronic imprints, which are some of the security safeguards we have in the document. So now, so what is a land title? A land title is any document that shows your ownership. There are different types of documents. I'm sure you've heard of the Oba's approval. You've probably heard of deed of transfers.
Yes,
There are all different kinds of titles. Even customary right of occupancy issued by the local government. They're all different kinds. But the apex documentation for your land is the certificate of occupancy. And that is the one that the banks will accept and that your business partners will accept. And that's the one that everybody feels is properly titled and valid. So that you do not have a certificate of, and let me clear a misconception. People think that because the certificate of occupancy has, say, 99 years or 25 years for agricultural land, it means that after that time, the land is no longer your own. That is not true. Okay. It's a certificate. So what we are saying is that in 99 years, come back and refresh the certificate so that we are sure that it is the person that, well, I pray to live to 99 years old, but so that we are sure that it is the person who is in possession that still has the certificate. So your statutory right does not expire unless you alienate it, that is, unless you sell it, or you transfer it, or you gift it out. But your certificate expires and is renewed as a matter of course. That way, government is always able to have an up-to-date record of who owns what. And that's to the benefit of the investor.
Okay.
Yes, because it means that everybody has a record, government has a record of your investment in the state, of the land ownership, and so somebody else cannot just come tomorrow, 20 years down the line and say it is my own now. That's not possible once you have a certificate of occupancy, because for 99 years it's valid.
Now, this new system is like a new dawn for landowners.
Yeah.
Now, have you really experienced any challenges with the system itself?
Of course, every human endeavor has challenges. Changing from an old system to a new system presents its own mode of challenges.
What strategies have you employed to
They're mostly operational challenges. Mostly operational challenges. So I don't want to bore our audience with
no, but we need to know like
operational challenges. Well, okay. Perhaps the biggest challenge so far is the rate of adoption. We would like to see a bigger rate of adoption of the new regime of electronic registration of your land. Even though we have thousands of applications, I expect it to be in tens of thousands, really. And what have we had, how did we go about this, trying to solve this problem? A few months ago, we did a massive media campaign, allowing people to understand the benefits of, because your property is what the business people will call latent capital. It's money sleeping house on Apapava. That is worth hundreds of millions, but it's sleeping without certification. You can't touch it. You can't leverage it. You can't borrow on it. You can't grow your own business unless you have certification. So when you get certification for an old mud house of Apapava, you can leverage it and get tens of millions of naira and start a new business. This is how wealth is created all over the world. Making it easy for people to access capital to grow business. And that's one of the main thrusts. In fact, that for me is the main reason why government decided, the government of Governor Obaseki decided to invest so much time, money and effort in getting it right in the process of a land administration. Because it's critical to moving our people out of poverty, giving them the opportunity to leverage. In Udo, for instance, you've got 10 acres of farmland in Udo, you have no certification. You cannot approach the agricultural banks to get a loan for you to plant. So you remain at the level of a subsistence farmer. But once you get certification, you can take it now to any bank.
And they will approve a loan for you.
From 10 acres, next year you are planting 10 hectares.
Okay. Now, it is said that this your new process is automated. What level of sophistication is employed, and how certain are you that this cannot be forged?
Right. Okay, so the certificate has several levels of security embedded in it. Unique numbering, invisible numbering, and some other features I honestly will not wish to discuss. We don't want to discuss, Yes. But we're fairly confident that our certificates are extremely secure. Nothing is Nothing is perfect in the world because the man that made it is imperfect. However, we are extremely confident that our certificates are very, 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 very secure. Then we are backed up by layers of information that are saved in various media. Again, I won't want to go into all that, but that allows us to cross-check. So when you come with a certificate you say is issued by us, we have different ways of checking to be sure that it is actually from us.
Okay.
So the days of getting a low CFOs is actually numbered now. It's actually numbered. Yeah, in Edo State,
yeah,
it's really impossible.
So what are the underlying sustainability factors built into the system to ensure that these reforms are not jettisoned in the near future?
Let me be honest here. Let's move away from partisan politics.
Good.
Sustainability is driven by the dream owner, right? It's important, and I want to say this, it's important for many people to realize that outside of whatever party you are campaigning for, when the system is good, the dream owner who brought the system should be given the opportunity to drive it and to grow it to a level where to develop a life of its own. That's why it's so important that we don't make a mistake. Okay. It's so important we do not make a mistake. There are so many initiatives, Edo GIS, Edo Best, Edo HIP, Edo Jobs, so many initiatives that are their infancy and that they need the steadying hand of the initiator of those ideas to grow them over the next 4 years. Without sounding partisan, I don't think right now Edo State has an alternative other than re-electing Governor Godwin Obaseki. If we want all these initiatives to reach maturity. I say this with all sense of responsibility without looking at the partisan, I'm only looking at the business side of issues. And I think we should take it seriously. All Edo people should take this seriously. We should think about our future now. We can play the politics later.
Thank you. Is Edo State going green? Stay with us. When we come back, we'll let you know.
No man is guarded. Obaseki, our governor. Forward ever, backward never. Let's go further together. Godwin Obaseki, Obaseki is the right candidate for Edo. Vote our man up. Oh yeah, 4+4 equals to continuity. Dogba, Obaseki, continue your work. You do Ogbe Stadium renovation. Even with the do best, plenty achievement for your time. Oh, our life will done better. Obaseki Ashaibu, now them be the winning team. Godwin Obaseki, Dogba, now you we want to. For the things what you do for Edo, now you be winner. Make we put PDP, vote our man up. PDP, power to the people. No man is guarded. Obaseki, our governor. Forward ever, backward never. Let's go further together. Godwin Obaseki, Obaseki is the right candidate for Edo. Vote our man up. Oh yeah, 4+4 equals to continuity. Dogba, Obaseki, continue your work. You do Ogbe Stadium renovation. Even with the do best, plenty achievement for your time. Oh, our life will done better. Obaseki Ashaibu, now them be the winning team. Godwin Obaseki, Dogba, now you we want to. For the things what you do for Edo, now you be winner. Make we put PDP, vote our man up. PDP, power to the people. No man is guarded. Obaseki, our governor. Forward ever, backward never. together. Godwin Obaseki. Obaseki. He's the right candidate for Edo. Vote our man up. Oh yeah, 4+4 equals to continuity. Dogba, Obaseki, continue your work. You do open stadium renovation. Even with the jobbers, plenty achievement for your time. Our life would be better.
Hello, sir. Good afternoon. My name is Osa Evbuomwan. I'm calling in from EDOGIS. Please, am I on to Mr. Osa Evbuomwan?
Yes,
Please, sir, for clarification purpose, what's your middle name?
MNIA.
Okay. So I'm to inform you that the CFO is ready for pickup.
Okay. Oh, that's fine.
Congratulations, sir.
Oh, thank you very much.
All right. Have a nice day.
World-class customer service, reliable just partial information, reduced cost and collection time of certificates of occupancy. This is The Edo State Geographic Information Service was set up on the 1st August 2017 by Governor Godwin Obaseki as a successor government agency to the erstwhile Ministry of Lands and Survey, charged with the responsibility of land administration, registration, geomapping and survey, and deploys a fully automated system to collect, collate, verify and digitize all just partial data. So, how exactly has the process changed so far?
In obtaining your certificate of occupancy, the first port of call is the help desk when you enter through the door, where you meet a representative that asks you questions like what you've come to do. They give you a form, you fill the form, and they key into the computer. And when she's clear that you've come to obtain the certificate of occupancy, she then directs you to the customer service.
When they come in, the first question we'll ask them is to know what kind of application they're to put in. When we are informed about the application, then we request for the document, the survey plan, the deed of transfer, ID, utility bill. When we check all these documents and all of the documents are available, we also check the history of the transaction. Check starting from the root title to know whether the person bought from the community directly or bought for somebody who bought from the community. After all the registration, we generate an acknowledgement letter which shows that the applicant has been to EDOGIS to register his property. Then we generate a file number which is unique to every applicant. The applicant can easily come and give us that file number for us to check the status of his application. After all of this, we put all the documents together and send to the archive unit where they do the jacketing and filing.
To the program. Now, architect, we hear that some areas in the state have been marked out for green areas and plantations. Now, where are these areas located and how would such demarcations contribute to societal development?
Right, thanks. Okay, so I'm sure you've heard of the agripreneur program.
Very well.
Yes, one of the offsets of that, we also heard about the palm oil initiative,
yes,
the cassava initiative. So this is what we're doing. We're mapping out plots of land for agri-investors who are going into the oil palm and cassava mass production. Because of the size of the kind of investment they want to bring in, we're giving them tangible land in Obaoka, in Ovia, in Owa, Ilushi, and some other places I can't really play, like Agenebode and so on. Yeah. So it's across the state. We're mapping out tracts of land, and the certificates are tied to production. They must produce, or the certificate is revoked. And with that, government is hoping to jumpstart massive investments in agriculture. It's not as if there is no investment in Edo State right now in agriculture. I will have you know that the biggest oil palm companies, two of the biggest oil palm companies, the only two quoted at the Nigerian Stock Exchange are in Edo State.
And
Presco, yes. And so we're trying to replicate those success stories across oil palm, across cassava, across fishery, and several other things. The Commissioner for Agric and FCArc will have more details. The details I have has to do with the land that we're allocating in.
And the food security is scheduled for Monday.
Excellent, excellent. I advise our viewers to tune into that. There's a lot of goodies for small farmers, medium farmers, and large-scale farmers in the agripreneur program and the different initiatives the government is undertaking. And you can rest assured that the state government is ready to back up whatever it's doing with certified land and certificated land.
I think I like that. Now, you know, we are going to have people that will be coming to your agency for the very first time to register.
Yes.
What advice do you have for them?
Working confidently, knowing that your governor has put a system in place that will attend to you. Walk straight up to the reception desk, ask to be served, and you will be served. It's that simple.
Just walk in.
Walk in.
Good. Now, some people say that the land reforms remains, you know, some of the most ambitious, or rather ambitions taken by the present government. Now, what is your assessment?
It's the root of development.
It looks very tall, very ambitious.
Development economists will tell you that the very base of any economic growth is land. There is no economic activity that takes place without land, whether it's land for agriculture, industry, hospitality, even for your office. So getting the land administration right is critical, is key to unlocking the economic boom inherent in the system. And it's even, before you can even put your power plants in place to give you electricity, you need the land. So it's so critical, and government has taken giant steps in ensuring that the land administration is done. Look, a month ago, I got a call from the World Bank, and they said, look, we've been following your progress at the EDOGIS. There are some states that are not done this yet. Can you prepare a presentation so that they can see what's possible? And that is, for me, is the highest form of praise. When you're recognized from outside your shores and you are being asked to share the little you have achieved with others.
And did you replicate?
Oh, definitely. I knocked together a presentation that had 5-6 states in Nigeria. We're in that meeting where I made my presentation, and it was well received. It was well received, and it shows that Edo State has made huge progress in land administration in the country. For it to have been noticed nationally and internationally, huge progress.
Now, I want you to talk to us on the 3 most significant sectors that you think that the Godwin Obaseki's administration has, you know, been able to touch in your own assessment.
Okay, so I'll be a little biased here. I'll start with land, but that's understandable.
It's
the base of the pyramid.
Yes.
The land reforms and administration has been a huge step, huge step into opening up the economy. Government involvement in production of electricity. I'm talking of the Oshomo power plant. Or let me use the word power, not just electricity.
Okay.
Government involvement in the production of power, talking of Oshomo power plant and the oil refinery. It's another massive step because, look, BEDC buys 40 megawatts, and I challenge them to contravene my facts. They buy 40 megawatts to supply to 3 states, Edo, Delta, and Ondo State. Oshomo is producing 55 megawatts in the first phase. So if you inject 55 megawatts of electricity into Edo economy, we are going to explode economically.
That's combined with
We don't even need BEDC. If it was possible, we'll have just told BEDC, thank you very much for your contribution, leave our state. Because Oshomo is generating 55 megawatts. BEDC is buying 40 for 3 states. So in truth, if it was possible legally, because of the different agreements the BEDC they have, we would have been better off just dealing with Oshomo. But that's a huge game changer economically. Then there are several initiatives, but between agriculture and education, I think I'll stay with education. Okay. Because an uneducated populace is an ignorant populace, is a populace that can't help itself. The difference between a goal-getting entrepreneur and a societal liability is the level of quality of education the individual has gone through. A society that doesn't invest in education is a society that is going to bring up society liabilities on itself. I don't want to mention names, but there are some states where they have disdained education, and we can see the result today in the burden the society has. So when you have a governor who says, look, let all our children be literate, let them be able to read and write. It is not because he is not literate. It is because they've recognized that the only way we are going to be able to open up the Edo society to development, expanded and exploding development, is by having a highly educated populace. An educated person will not, for instance, go and become a thug on Ring Road. No. We want to have children who are making radios, who are making computers. We want to have children who are into robotics. We want to have children who are into construction, who are into engineering. And that's only possible with education. Okay. So for me, EduBest is a huge game changer.
Thank you. Now, I want to remove you from government. I want you to stand as an independent observer and an Edo person. Would you say that the governor has done enough for you to say, okay, you want him to seek for second term in office?
Without any question of doubt.
You are not talking now as a member of the Obaseki-led government.
Talking as a member of anything you want me to talk as,
yes.
Without any question of doubt. He's done more than enough to seek to be re-elected. He has a lot of, what's it now? He has a lot of cookies in the oven of development that needs to come out baked. And if you turn off the fire of the oven before the cookies are baked, you are left with what? Wasted dough. So that's why I said that some of these issues should not be partisan. Some of these issues should not be partisan. Some of these issues are economic, they're developmental, and they're even commonsensical. I mean, we need to know, we need to tell ourselves some home truths. Like I said, let us play the development game now. We can play the politics later when we are developed. Okay. But for now, let's play the development game now. Let's get the right people into the right places to do the right jobs for us. Right?
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll take a short break now, just briefly, but we'll come back. We'll take one or two comments from our page. Please don't go away, stay with us.
We work essentially with all units here because this is where they come for information or whatever data needs they may require. But conventionally, we are engaged with the customer service. When they do have applications that they need to process, their first point of call after having to deal with the clients is to send the applications here for us to put in a fresh jacket, issue out a barcode number, which will identify each client separately from another. We can handle as much as 30 applications in a day because of the nature of the automation that we have by the new system. It allows us to work quickly. After that, we send them, photograph them, issue out numbers, and push them to the vetting department.
What basically do is to try to match the title deed with the survey plan to know that shows the size of the land the applicants, which is the CO44. Such title document could be the Oba approval for a direct application from the community, or there has a deed that the person got from somebody who had an Oba approval. So we just try to reconcile this, and if it matched, we start to cast, which is the next section. Vetting of documents is very important because we need to know how you, the individual that wishes to get the CO4, came about that land. We need to know the history, how you got it. We need to know that the person that we are issuing that CO4 to is the right owner, so that we don't end up causing any dispute, and the issuing of double CO4 for one land will cause disputes in the future.
We deal with files that comes from the vetting unit. Most of the time we deal with this and call them the title deed plan. We enter their details with the coordinates, which has and size of this property. After capturing them, we now proceed to check against our orthophoto imagery to determine if it falls in the actual location. And in checking this, we also check other features, which include the moats and the rivers, because it has to have certain centimeters, certain distance from these natural features. Apart from these natural features, we also check against government acquisitions. We check against such areas to be sure that such property do not fall within these areas, which are government acquisitions. We also check against the forest reserve. So after we've checked against all these and we are sure there are no problem whatsoever with the land, with the property, then we now proceed from here to the B.
Welcome back to the last segment where we go to our page. Well, I've been on our page now and I've scanned through. I'm still going up and down to see if I will see any negative comment. I haven't come across any. I'm still searching. I haven't seen any. Well, since I haven't seen any negative comments, there's no point reading out the positive comments. Okay, well, they said I should read out maybe just one or two. Okay. This one is coming from George Amenze, who says Obaseki's template for Edo State will turn Edo State to envious position in Nigeria. Okay, I think that is just about good. That is good enough, Frank. What do you think?
I think Mr. George is quite correct on the money.
Okay. Well, so I'd like to say a big thank you to Architect Frank Osa Evbuomwan, the MD EDOGIS, for coming on the program. Thank you so very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
And he's spoken to us about the ease of doing business and, of course, the ease of getting your CFO. And in his own words, I quote, he says, Obaseki has a lot of cookies waiting to be baked in the oven.
Of development.
In the oven of development. All right, so on behalf of everybody that has contributed to the success of this program, I say thank you to all that have also watched and for your comments as well. We appreciate you. We hope to be back later in the evening with another guest. My name remains Habiba Oyege Oyarekwa. Good afternoon.
The letter is a way of offering the applicants the CFO. So we also have a letter we call acceptance letter that we print to. So the applicant comes, collect the offer. Once the applicant is satisfied with what is in the offer, they accept it by filling the acceptance letter, paying the initial bill. But once we do that, we take the files to the MD to sign each of the letter, and we call the customer to come and get them. The other thing that is going on here is the old files from the old ministry that have been there for years. When they come here, we give them a new number so that we can capture it into our system. The reason for capturing the old file is this: we'll have to put them in our system because every person that have the old CFO is supposed to come for the certification, and once they come, we're not going to start all over again. We're going to ask you to come with your old number, the old number from the old ministry. So once you give us your name and the number, we recall it from the system in order for us to issue the applicant with the electronic CFO. So we encourage people to come, those people that have the old CFO to come and do the certification with us. So every file in the state from time immemorial up to this moment have been captured, and you can see we are still capturing them. Everything's in the system.
They are really fast in processing the CFO, and I'm here to collect the CFO of 2 of my clients. We process each 3, and most of the time they give me a call whenever they need something from me. And I think it's a system that people should applaud.
I applied for the past 6 years. I was asked to go and bring this, bring that, do this. And I just went to have a chat with the managing director of EDOGIS. And then he said, just go and pay 50,000. And then that's all. They gave me the certificate, they gave me the forms, and I didn't believe myself. And then completed that. And then before I knew what was happening, they telephoned me to go and collect my certificates. And I think that is just one. That's a huge potential. That's it. A huge potential locked up that is being released. And then I think it's in the interest of all Edo people, to go and get their certificate of occupancy, because they will need it for so many things. They put money into building their houses, okay, and that money is locked up. With the certificate of occupancy, they can use the raise money to do businesses and add to do businesses. This is very, very good. I'm quite happy. I'm quite thankful, and I hope it will be sustainable.
Obaseki na umbrella, Obaseki na PDP, we dey. Obaseki no be Obaseki na umbrella, Obaseki na umbrella, Obaseki na PDP, Obaseki na PDP. The symbol is umbrella, PDP we dey. Obaseki no be bro, Obaseki no be bro. Oya, Obaseki shaibu. Them get plenty achievements, yo. Like them bring EDOGIS, many renovation. Everybody they happy for Edo. They say Obaseki na correct